All right, well, we've talked about the 5 social media questions we have for you. We have one video question. Let's take a look at it now.
Great.
Doctor, when I'm going to the toilet to do some urine or urinate, and then I feel some pain, or maybe my penis is a little bit swollen.
So usually people complain of painful urination when there's either inflammation or infection involving the urinary tract. In other words, if there's a bladder infection and you have a sediment of the causative organism in the bladder, it causes inflammation. That's redness, swelling, irritation of the lining of the bladder, and as it goes out, obviously the specialized skin that follows the path of the urethra. So that's what often causes painful voiding, which we call dysuria. And then you have the associated urinary tract symptoms of frequency, where you end up going to the loo quite a few times a day. And then urgency, the feeling as if you have to go quickly, and when you get there, there are only a few drops. So you get urgency, frequency, and dysuria. Those are typical symptoms of a urinary tract infection. The fact that his penis is swollen after intercourse begs me to ask the question, who is having sex with? Because STDs are significant in this case, and we need to know, for example, what the status of our partners are. We need to also look and see, is there a mechanical reason why it could be swollen after sex? Is his partner perhaps using an intrauterine contraceptive device? Is there mechanically a cause causing irritation of the skin of the penis during the sexual act, for example?
Okay, now I want to talk about the bladder infections for just a moment. You often hear about women getting bladder infections.
Yes, very common.
Is it common in men?
Less common in men, certainly, but they do get them. Okay. And often the most common cause of urinary tract infections over the summer months is staying in your swimwear for periods of time that are too long. Remember that fungus loves growing in a moist environment. So if you aren't well ventilated and the materials that you're wearing allow you to sweat, that facilitates the growth of fungus and increases the risk of fungal infection, which then also can contribute to bladder infection. So we have then in men a longer urethra in view of the structure of the sexual organ and the penis itself. So the distance that an organism has to travel is a lot further than it is for women, for example. And one of the typical organisms is E. coli, which is associated obviously with feces, and it enters basically the bladder en route from the anus area along the skin and is contaminated. Thus we teach our little girls how to wipe from front to back instead of from back to front.
Right. Well, that's one way to prevent it. Are there any other ways to prevent a bladder infection?
Gee, I think in winter months you find people hold it in as long as they can before going to the toilet. And that's also bad, because then you have stagnant urine, and when you keep the urine in the bladder for long periods of time, you facilitate then obviously also UTIs. Kids in the classroom don't want to leave the classroom, it's too cold, the toilet seat is cold, etc. So when you need to go, go. Don't delay. Secondly, drink lots of fluids to flush the kidneys, and also to promote the process of getting rid of the unwanted toxins and secretions from the body. And then now and again, if you really need to, consider changing the pH a bit of your body in terms of the blood. So we all know about products that alkalinize the urine. Things like citrus soda, etc. So maybe take some citrus soda every now and again if you feel a slight bit of irritation of the urinary tract, and then wait and see if it makes a difference or not.